We're going to talk about balancing equations. By balance, we mean that in an equation, there are equal numbers of atoms of each element on both the reactant side and the product side. Right? That's what we mean by balanced. Furthermore, most chemistry presentations of this are going to say that since it's balanced, what we mean is that the coefficients are whole numbers. So we're not going to have a half a mole of something or a 2/3 of a mole of something. We're not going to call that balanced, even though I can see why technically it might fit your intuition as balanced, but that's not what we mean. We mean whole number coefficients. Okay. The number of atoms for a given element is calculated by multiplying the coefficient of any. Let me get my pad out here and write this out. So if we've got methane plus carbon dioxide, or no, not plus carbon dioxide, plus oxygen, right, produces something, then what we're going to say is, and these we know from a previous conversation, are going to go 1 to 2, right? So the number of atoms for a given element is calculated by multiplying the coefficient, in this case it's 1, right, of any formula containing the element by the element subscript. So there are 4 atoms of hydrogen, 1 atom of carbon, right? And can you see if I'm multiplying 2 and 2, there are going to be 4 atoms of oxygen, right? And that's what we mean by this last statement. The coefficient times the subscript. All right, now if an element appears in more than one formula on a given side of the equation, the number of atoms, it has to be added, of course, right? So if we have carbon dioxide and water, for example, as the products of that previous reaction, it looks like there's going to be 2 oxygens here, right? Because of this, you see that? And we're going to have 2 oxygens here because there's, right, 2 times that. So there's going to be 4 oxygen atoms, right? Of course, right? So we're adding them. So we're going to show then that we're going to demonstrate with a particular flow that this is balanced, right? So first thing we're going to do is we're going to make some notes. I'm going to say if this is balanced. I think I already have that slide. Then we're gonna make a list of all the elements. Where am I here? We're gonna make a list of all the elements. We're gonna count the atoms of each element in the reactants. We're gonna count the products, and we're gonna say is it balanced. So let's start with that. Let's start with carbon. So can you see that there is 1 carbon here and 1 carbon here, right? 1 times 1. There's a 1 subscript and a 1 coefficient, so it's 1. Is this balanced? Yes, it is. Okay, let's move on to the next one. What about hydrogen? Hydrogen, there's 1 times 4 gives 4, right? And 2 times 2 gives 4. Is this balanced? Yes, it is. Okay, so finally, let's do the oxygen. There are 2, right, times 2. There's 4 oxygen atoms. And there's 2 plus, right, 2, which gives you 4. So yes, that is balanced. And we can see that that's balanced by inspection. All right, so we're going to do a more complicated balancing reaction or balancing equation in the next conversation.